So in my hands, I have one of the most exciting purchases that I bought recently. This is the Ulanzi Handheld Fogger. Officially, it's the FM01, and I think they call it the FILMOG or FILMOG Ace Pro, something like that. But this thing is hyped all over the internet, and I completely understand the hype, and I want to talk to you about all the pros that I absolutely love about this handheld fogger, but there are some big cons as well. And then I want to tell you how we used it, not only get us more clients and obviously make us more money, but how it's completely expanded our workflow. Let's dive in. Okay, so I saw this all over the internet and I had to try it. The price was right. It's usually around $100 or so, but you can honestly find it on sale. Let's talk about the build quality, the features, and do a quick unboxing. I absolutely love it when companies include hard cases that are not only of high quality, but are also functional and practical. Everything fits in this hard case, and I can put the entire hard case in my camera bag for easy travel. Inside, you're going to find a rechargeable battery, and in this film-looking case, which was very nostalgic, you're going to find the atomizer. The atomizer reminds me a lot of vaping, so you're going to find something very similar. It has some weight to it, and I can tell it's made out of high quality. It's very easy to refill. I'll refill a little bit later. We'll talk about that. Now let's look at the main device. My initial reaction is, I like it. It feels good in the hand, but it's also very plasticky. It's safe to say you're not going to find a lot of metal, but the price reflects that. The company does include a bottle of liquid fog, which is excellent, so you can get up and running. And then of course you have all of your attachments. The dry ice is probably my favorite attachment, but of course you can remove the foam for an extender. And then you also have another attachment that's sort of an elbow. You'll also find a USB charging cable, and of course the user manual and a quick startup guide. So let's fill up this bad boy and give it a test drive. All you gotta do is lift up the flap, pour in some fog, and then thread the atomizer to the unit. It's very important that you allow the fog to settle first, so keep the unit upright for about 2 minutes or so to prime it. The unit starts up very quickly, and you're up and running in a matter of seconds. You can also remove the remote for wireless control, and it's just that easy to start fogging. Okay, so there's a couple of things I wanted to address that I think is brilliant about this machine. Number one being that you do have this remote. This remote pops out and you can wirelessly control the fogger from anywhere, right? It has pretty good range. Now you can't go like 2 miles down the street, but for a production, setting, you're going to have plenty of range, and you can control every aspect of the fogger. For example, the thickness of the fog, the fan speed, how often you want it to fog. If you want to set it on continuous or intermediate, and you can even set how intermediate it'll start fogging and things like that. It also comes with all the attachments that I mentioned. One of my favorite ones is a dry ice attachment. So it's really cool. Like, I really like that there's this remote function, right? I also wanted to address something. A lot of you online were saying, it's really hard to get the remote out. I don't think a lot of you know, but if you push on top of here, it pops out and you just lift the remote out and there you go. Also, speaking of the controller, a big pro is it has a beautiful LCD, right? I really like this menu system. It's very intuitive, very easy to follow, and I feel like it's really easy to navigate, right? So you can easily dial in your fan speed or your fog density and so forth, and that's really, really cool. The remote recharges. The fogger itself has a rechargeable battery, and I find that the battery is great. Never had to ever recharge it or, was in danger of needing to recharge or anything like that. But also, to be fair, you're not going to be fogging all day with this. And if you are going to be having a lot of fog for an all-day shoot, you're going to buy a big fogger and go down that route. I really love that it came with a case. I really love that it came with some fog juice, you know, you have everything that you need to get you up and going and started. There has been some reports of people that couldn't get it going, right? And I think one of the important things to remember is when you first buy it and then you're going to put it in the ionizer, I think it's the ionizer, you have to let it sit upright for a while, like 2 minutes or so. And I think that's just to prime things. They say to do that when you first buy it, but I found that if it's been sitting for a long time, it's a good idea to fill it up and let it sit upright for a minute or two just to prime. And I never had any issues. It starts up, you know, fine after that. I think there was one time when it did throw an error and it told me that it couldn't detect it for whatever reason. And it ended up being that it wasn't screwed in all the way. I mean, it was as simple as that. With that being said, I can't attest to like the warranty or customer service of Ulanzi. Never had to contact them. So I can understand if some of you are really frustrated or maybe you can't get through with the company, but I did want to say that it has been very reliable for me, at least for the last couple of months or so. So let me really quickly go over some of the pros. First one being the price. I feel like this is an incredible value. You're getting this handheld fogger that is really strong. I mean, it produces a lot of fog and it's so versatile. You can use it for so many different things. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. For under $100, I mean, really, honestly, there's a coupon like every other week on Amazon. So I know that there's other foggers that are a little bit more metal, right? But they're asking for almost $150, $200. So overall, you know, I would say don't drop this thing, but if you just take care of it in the most basic way, you're going to be happy with it. You're also getting a lot in the total package, right? You're getting a case, you're getting all these attachments, you're getting the juice, you're getting, you know, everything you need to get you going and set up. So that is a huge pro for me. I also love the wireless remote. Another huge pro. There's times where I need to set this somewhere and I'm back with the camera somewhere else. We're doing maybe a long shot and I'm controlling everything exactly, precisely how I want it. I found that the fan can get pretty low, which is great, and it can produce a lot of fog, heavy, dense fog, or it can dial it back for more of a mist. That's a really great feature. There's times when you don't want fog, you just want to mist things, right? To give that like hazy look. And it's definitely capable of that. Let's talk about some of the cons. I think a big con for me is the attachments. They're extremely flimsy. There's nothing clipping the attachment down and locked into place. I wish you could like put the attachment in there and then turn it where it kind of like locks in and then it swivels from at the top, right? Keeping everything secure. There's been so many times, especially on a recent shoot for a music video, where we were using some of the attachments and then they fall off. I mean, even the top itself can fall off, right? There's nothing really securing the top piece of the fogger or the attachment on top from falling out. So if you kind of like wiggle it, it's as simple as that. So yeah, I wish there was more of like a locking screw-in mechanism to just keep things secure. I think another con for me is capacity for the fogger itself, for the juice. And it's kind of nitpicking. I mean, there wasn't really a time where I felt like, oh man, there wasn't like enough capacity for me to do something very specific. I think there's, you know, more than enough capacity to get through certain scenes or shots, but it's messy, right? To open it up, it's hot, right? You can't like refill on the spot right away. And as you guys know, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you don't want to open this thing up, get a bunch of fog juice everywhere, or refill on the spot. And like I said, it's hot. You don't want to touch it accidentally. You don't want someone else touching it and getting burnt. So having a little bit more capacity, even if it meant making this a little bit larger, I would have been happier with, right? I would have been very happy with. I felt like capacity is fine, but for serious work, maybe a little bit more would have been nice. So with that being said, I would love to see a version 2 of this where it was more of a professional, version, maybe more metal than plastic, larger capacity, maybe a larger battery, and then, take it from there. I'm willing to pay a little bit more to get something that just has a little bit more of that like production feel. And if they are going to go with a more professional model, I'd love to see some custom buttons or presets, being able to save some presets. So for example, maybe like a C1, C2, C3 button, and I can program them to be like C1 would be, I don't know, heavy fog, dense fog. C2 would be a very light mist, or C3 would be whatever custom setting I would want, just to be able to like dial through those settings and change the settings quickly to just get the workflow, you know, a little bit more streamlined. So I was actually very surprised how versatile this fogger is, and I had to kind of like restrain myself from using it or overusing it these last couple of months. I can tell you my kids love it. My daughter will grab it and like write her name and stuff. It's really, really fun, really, really cool. And you can overuse it, so just make sure to dial yourself back. I've used it on product videos where it gave this really cool mist or a really cool haze look. I've dialed it up a little bit more and gotten some dense fog right in some of my shots. I've been using the dry ice function for like a smoke cigarette look or cigar look. We've used it on a lot of Halloween content or scary content, and it's worked out just fine. But so far I've found that with product videos, small product videos, it's been great. I've also used it on some of my sponsored videos where brands will send us out stuff or sponsor and pay for our videos, just to give a little bit more of an added effect and showcase the product a little bit more. We also recently took it on a music video, and it worked great. I mean, the artist wanted this really like smoky room feel, hint, hint, and it definitely gave a very realistic look, like, you know, someone's been smoking in the room, and it just fit perfectly. We were able to fog up the room between takes, and then even remotely control it to give like a someone's blowing smoke in your face kind of look for the music video. I was really happy with it. I think the only con that everyone was really frustrated with was the attachments falling off. But other than that, it worked out great. It's not going to replace a full-size fogger, so please keep that in mind. But I think for the price, if you are in the market for a handheld fogger for product videos, spicing up your content, YouTube content, or your social media content, this is actually going to pay for itself, you know, within 1 or 2 projects. That's how good it is, and I'm so happy I bought it. I'm going to leave a link in the description below if you guys are interested. Of course, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And like always, guys, if you found this video informative or entertaining, please consider subscribing and joining our channel membership so we can continue making videos like this one. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody.